losses due to project overruns and scraps and mistakes, operational challenges. But fortunately, our successful projects outperform our losses, and so it brings us back to a net positive overall. Yeah.
So within that, the details being over 25 years in business. And
What's that?
the next question, providing details, time period, so ongoing challenge, would that be full 25 years of business, or could you just elaborate more on those aspects? Overall services, overall competition.
Give me that again, Reese.
So,
Give me that again.
Could you provide just some more details on, you mentioned, that one's already mentioned. Actually, those ones, never mind. I answered my own question. Okay. Following that, I'm going to ask you again to rate yourself in consideration over your significant challenge specifically, or challenges since it's continuing. How would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as listening?
Six. No, I had myself at a 7, sorry.
Okay. And then,
Some of these it was kind of hard to see how they applied a little bit to overcoming our significant challenge, But, so I don't know if I can really explain to you. I rated myself on these things.
Yeah, that's okay. And then how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as empathy?
8, a 6.
A 6 out of 10?
6 on empathy.
Okay. How would you rate yourself as far as healing?
An 8.
How would you rate yourself as far as awareness?
I got 8.
How would you rate yourself as far as persuasion?
6.
And then how would you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 as far as conceptualization?
7.
How would you rate yourself for foresight?
7.
And then how would you rate yourself as far as stewardship?
8.
And then how would you rate yourself as far as commitment to growth?
8.
And then how would you rate yourself for interest in building community within the workplace?
Rate myself on what?
Interest in building community.
Oh. 7.
And then could you provide an example of how one of these characteristics was used in continually overcoming the challenge of bottom line and integrity in pricing?
I picked 2 of them.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Yeah.
I chose awareness and foresight. I think they play equally important roles. Foresight allows us to that while hiding the cost of mistakes might ease the short-term financial pain, it ultimately leads to long-term consequences like losing client trust and compromising our ethical standards. Awareness is just about recognizing the issue in the moment and responding proactively. Asking how we can minimize future losses and maintain fairness and transparency with a client. Yeah.
That answers that question. And then moving on to the next section, how would you describe or what would you define the mission, vision, and strategy of Pasco Machine?
We actually have been working through our mission and core values and things like that, and so I'm just going to read off to you what this stuff that we're like in the midst of right now.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the book Traction?
No.
It's kind of an entrepreneurial, like ERP kind of a thing where I'll share it with you. I'll send you a link or something to it. It's really good if you ever want
Yeah, I'd appreciate that.
to see it. Anyways, we're working through that book, and it's helped us to kind of put this together. But our mission and our core focus is delivering industrial solutions on call in the field and in the shop. Unparalleled service, exceptional people, and great results. And then our core values are excellence, purpose, integrity, and compassion. You want me to describe those at all?
Yes.
Okay. So as it turned out, our core values, we have an acronym, so it's EPIC.
Okay.
Excellence, purpose, integrity, and compassion. So excellence, we take pride in our work. We work efficiently and effectively to solve our customers' problems. And then purpose, we hustle, we move with purpose, both as individuals and as Pasco Machine. We deliver, we improve, we grow. We are tenacious in serving our customers and community. Integrity, transparency, honesty, and strong moral principles that guide our company. And then compassion, we are compassionate as a Pasco Machine family, but also in our community, supporting many charities, events, and occasions. We're making a difference in the community. Are you helping your peers? Are you thinking of others as you do your job? That's kind of our, what else was on there? Our strategy.
Yes.
What do you mean by what's the strategy of the organization? Are we talking? What are we exactly are we talking about there? Can you?
Yeah.
Help me with that?
Strategy as far as in Pasco Machine, how do you best get to the end goal of producing
Our
the
product
best,
or our
yes,
service?
Exactly.
I think it's outside of the shop. It would be like developing relationships with people in industries that require a service that we provide. And we've always wanted to. We have a client base that we serve right now, and most of those clients, there's more that we can do for them. So we want to build on what we're like. We want to build with within those relationships that we already have.
Yeah.
We want to like maximize our offering with them, and then of course grow that to other industries and other people, other businesses. But on the inside, the way that we do that is to be able to offer a better service at a good value. We're not always trying to, our strategy is not to be the cheapest guy on the block, but we will always be there for our customer. We're 24/7. We have people on call, and a lot of the people that we deal with, they need someone like that. And so that's a big part of our strategy, is just out-serving everyone around us, and making a higher quality product. Not necessarily being the cheapest, though.
Yeah.
We're not the cheapest guy. So
That answers that perfectly. Thank you. And then next question, how essential is the entrepreneurial mindset in achieving the overall mission, vision, and strategy of Pasco Machine?
yeah. I think if the goal is to stay status quo and just operate as usual, and we're not interested in growing, it's not as critical. But I think even to maintain, you have to have some entrepreneurial mindset. But if we're trying to grow, if we're trying to expand the business and make improvements in efficiency and all the things that we're talking about, finding new opportunities, then the entrepreneurial mindset becomes critical, and it drives like innovation and being able to be adaptable, and the willingness to take calculated risks, that would help us to progress and grow.
Yeah. And then I'm also going to ask you to rate yourself for the next 7 characteristics on a scale of 1 to 10. First being, how would you rate yourself as far as the need for achievement?
8.
And then how would you rate yourself for openness to experience?
You know what? Like on that 8, I just, one side note,
Okay.
like just bettering, or achieving, it says a drive to attain excellence. It's just funner to live that way, just to try to one-up yourself, or even one-up your competition. It's just funner.
Yeah.
So anyways, I do all right at that. Openness to experience, you said?
Yes. How would you rate yourself?
I got a 6 on that. Put myself down as a 6 on that.
Okay. And then how would you rate yourself as far as innovation and creative ability?
7.
Risk. How would you rate yourself for risk propensity?
9.
And then how would you rate yourself for proactiveness and work ethic?
8.
And then how would you rate yourself for entrepreneurial self-efficacy?
8 to 9.
Okay.
I think I'm, yeah.
Would you say an 8.5, 9?
Sure. 8.5.
Okay. For scale reasons. Okay. And then how would you rate yourself for internal locus of control?
8.
And then, could you provide an example of one of the characteristics and how you used it in achieving the Pasco Machine's mission, vision, and strategy of the organization?
One characteristic.
It could be multiple too.
So this is, I'm providing an example of one characteristic that was I didn't choose one, but I would say need for achievement, risk propensity,
And then could you provide an example of how maybe you've gone about that within Pasco Machine, being a manager?
Yeah. We took some risks. I think it was about 14 years ago. Up until 14 years ago, we were what you would consider a manual machine shop fabrication. Not a lot of the pump, no CNCs, and we realized that without CNCs and software, and whether it was whatever the software that you use to program and design for CNC equipment.
What is CNC equipment?
Computer numeric control, so it's a little more advanced. Manual stuff's been around for a long time, and there'll always be a need for it. But so we were a little bit antiquated, and I felt like that was going to probably stunt our growth and just like limit our capabilities. And so we decided, they're expensive. It's just an expensive thing to get into. From purchasing the machine is one thing, but then you have to tool the machine. You have to have the software to run the machine. You have to have the personnel that can program the machine. And so it was kind of a big step for us, and I knew it was going to be expensive, but I thought that we could make it make sense, and I thought we could reach people that would benefit from, that we could sell this service to, and so we invested in those things. I think we have several $1 million tied up in it by now, and the question was, would the return justify the cost, and would it take us to the next level? And fortunately, it proved to be the right move, and we expanded our capabilities and improved efficiency, and it helped us with both existing customers, and it helped us get into new customers. And so I felt like that was pretty risky, because it just was really unfamiliar territory for me. I mean, the machining part of it I was very familiar with, but the automated side of it I wasn't. And between that and it being expensive, it was a risk.
Yeah.
And our, kind of a side note on that, we had a kid that worked for us for 8 or 9 years, and he swept floors, and you wouldn't even know he had a brain, because he was so quiet. But he was like, I'm thinking about. He's been taking some computer classes, and he's thinking about doing something different. And that was right about the time when I was thinking maybe we should get into the CNC world a little bit. And I said, "Oh, you're interested in computers?" And I started talking to him, and I said, "Do you think you could program a water jet?" So a water jet's 2-dimensional. It's pretty easy to run. But he's computer savvy, and so I thought maybe he could try that, And so, anyways, long story short, that was like 14. It wasn't even 14 years ago, but anyways, he's now like our head SolidWorks guy. So he's doing all of the drawing and designing in SolidWorks. He's our head programmer for the mills. He's like the master of the water jet, He was just a guy that was just quiet and just kind of a diamond in the rough kind of guy. But he kind of made our program work out. He was ready to step up and wanted to advance and have different, greater opportunities and things like that. We just didn't know it because he was so quiet. So he swept for 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
But he's great.
And then, apart from servant leadership and the entrepreneurial mindset, could you identify 2 significant lessons that were essential in your route to success, or to where you're at?
Grit. You can never give up. And along with that, I feel like you have to have a problem-solving mind. You have to have a desire to problem solve. And I don't even know if it seems like to me, like in my management experience and being around people, like some people can solve problems, and some it's just like abstract to them. They just are not inherently problem solvers. So I think it's really important to be able to solve a problem. Like if one thing doesn't work, you have to try something else. You have to look beyond that and continue to do that. And I guess that's part of grit too, and just sticking with it and keep pushing. But I think that's really important. Maybe the most important. And then the other thing that I learned kind of the hard way, I think, is finding your balance. And so don't sacrifice your marriage or your family or friendships in the pursuit to be successful. It's just, I think it's great to be successful, but not at the cost of those things, It's more important to, you want to be successful with people too.
Yeah.
So it's really easy, I think, to get when you are an entrepreneur or you want to be in business for yourself, it's really easy to get like tunnel vision and hyper focused and forget about the other things that really matter. So I think finding your balance is really important, and just having an awareness of that about yourself and where you're at that way. Mm-hmm. So important, yeah.
And then following up on that, is there anything you would have wished specifically that you would have avoided that might have derailed you or delayed the success or where you're at?
I think what hurt me was not something that I should have avoided. I think my biggest thing was something that is something that I avoided.
Okay.
Not something that I should have avoided, but something that I avoided. And I think, like, as a leader, you have to have hard conversations. And it can be with your team members or your customers or your vendors or whatever. I did pretty good with my vendors, my customers. Those were good. But the day-to-day grind with the team members, the employees, I found myself kind of like just getting burnt out on these conversations that happen over and over and over and over and over, and just not handling personnel issues or problems, or it could be anything from coming to work on time to not doing their job to, being on their phone or whatever. I mean, whatever you can think of. When you avoid those things, they just pile up and it just gets worse and worse. And, I was dreading coming to work. I was about to implode. So just don't avoid dealing with people. Like, deal with it now. Walk them through it, talk them through it, help them through it, put an improvement plan together, or do whatever you have to do to help your people. And sometimes it just doesn't work and you have to let people go. And so you can't avoid doing those things because it will make your life miserable as a leader or as a manager.
Okay, so as far as the managing techniques and then what helped you develop, you mentioned developing your processes and procedures in HR. What specifically, what roles or what did you implement that changed?
In our policies and procedures, you mean?
Yes.
Well, we started. So we had a kind of a policy book, kind of a makeshift policy book, I guess you would say. But we didn't live by it. And so I can talk about your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Stephanie, she helped develop a real complete policy book, something that, it covered everything that we could imagine. And now it's just a really good tool to communicate with the employee. Like, look, we can't do this. You guys agreed to this, to live this way here at Pasco Machine, and here it is in the policy book. And so it's really good to refer back to when you're managing people, to have that policy. And then as far as like procedures, I think there are procedures that we use in the shop that help, but most of the procedures would be like administrative type things, like what we do for corrective actions and how things flow through the office, how things go from the counter to our ERP system, to our scheduling system, how things are moved into the shop, how deliveries are made to customers and things like that, those procedures, anyways, Stephanie was super involved in a lot of that stuff, and then the difficult conversations. Am I answering your question?
Yes. So you hired an HR?
Yeah, I hired HR.
To just help solidify your policy book and help kind of enforce the policies and procedures, so that it's not just something you have on paper, but something you guys lived through and it was applied throughout the company.
Yeah, it wasn't different every time. You could be the same every time.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And then Stephanie also helped us. HR also helped us working through some of these difficult conversations that needed to be had. And I felt like we needed somebody, an HR type person, just to record what was going on and to document what was going on. So our HR helped us with that.
Yeah.
HR helped out with job descriptions. That helps for hiring. It helps internally with, your current employees as well.
Yeah. Role descriptions and.
Yeah.
So.